Kevin.
Rebecca.
Should we get ready to rumble?
It's a big day for the Readathon.
Yep, it sure was a big day. We are going to talk about the beginning of Jennifer McCabe's testimony.
Return of McCabe.
Which began today. But first, we need to talk about the first witness of the day, which is a carryover from yesterday. That is the Commonwealth's phone expert, Ian Whiffen.
Now, this looked like on paper to be
boring.
Boring.
Actually, yesterday was quite boring with him.
Right, because we sort of expected him to come up and, refute the time of Jen McCabe's call, and we all kind of knew that was coming, and that's that. But is it possible, Rebecca, the state's witness tanked its case?
Yes. I mean, I will tell you, first of all, I want to make a correction about Ian Whiffen. Okay. Yesterday, I said he had a Scottish-ish accent.
Yeah.
He is from South Yorkshire, not Scotland, and apparently I really fucked up by saying he was from Scotland.
Oh, so people are upset?
I apologize to those of you who are either from South Yorkshire or Scotland if you're offended by my mischaracterization of Ian Whiffen, especially after today. I super apologize if I identified him with you and you don't want to be identified with him.
Okay.
That being said, he seems very nice. Like I will say, Ian Whiffen was not an antagonistic.
His demeanor on the stand was very
lovely,
sort of calm and
not a hostile witness.
Yet did not seem defensive when challenged.
That's right. So he was cross-examined today. We at the beginning of the cross-examination yesterday, and a lot more today. This was the whole first half of the day plus some. All right.
Right.
So let me talk about Alessi for a second.
Okay.
Alessi can be, as I said on yesterday's Readathon, a lot. He can do this thing where he talks about what he's going to talk about. He can get very in the weeds.
A little more scholarly,
but yelly. Like he
yelly.
Has,
okay. All right.
He has this. He's just like a lot.
Okay.
You have to understand that he has an incredible background. He has actually defended people in tech cases. He's done, conspiracy cases. His understanding of tech and his ability to talk about it, I don't know about his understanding, but his ability to talk about tech in the courtroom really came in handy today.
Okay.
So I'm going to go over some of the things that happened, and you can comment as we go along and let me know what you think. So one of the things that started coming up yesterday was that John O'Keefe's phone was moving toward the house at some point, right? And Whiffen's assertion is that, phone location data degrades or sharpens over time, and basically some things can affect it. But Alessi got him to admit on the stand that he took 36 steps, which is equivalent to 84 feet. And that is the last health event data that is seen. And he's like, couldn't that put him inside the house? And he said, yes, it could put him inside the house. So that was sort of like the first time I realized that this wasn't going to go the way that maybe the Commonwealth wanted it to go.
Didn't they have a diagram, as they refer to them, a chalk?
Yes.
That also could have put him in the house?
Yes. So they had a chalk for Whiffen based on a chart he made.
Yeah.
Now, I will say something that is very important, and it will come up again later. Whiffen works for Celebrite, okay?
Right.
Celebrite is one of the companies.
Is it Celebrite?
Celebrite.
Okay.
Celle Bright.
Celebrite. Okay. Yep.
So that's how I'm pronouncing it. That's how they've been pronouncing it in court. So he works for that company, yet he felt like there was a problem with their software. As a result of this case, there was a problem with their software. He said he'd been working on it for like 2 years, but that also fits in the timeline of this case, right? And he decided to create an update to that software, another version of that software. So all of this work that he showed today, talked about today, demonstrated today regarding phone location and phone data came from software that he wrote. Now, that may sound like I'm being conspiratorial, but it actually comes into play in a really important way later. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. So he showed this chart of cell phone accuracy and latitude, longitude, location. And he had these two circles. One was black with a little circle inside and a big one outside. And the other one was white with a little circle inside and a big one outside.
Almost like a Venn diagram where they sort of, within the same area, they're covering overlaps in a couple of spots. But it's supposed to look like a circle within a circle, being sort of the widest being sort of a range.
Yes.
And then as you get down to the smaller circle, a tighter range, I guess, like anywhere between the smaller side, like 7 meters to
This
like
isn't a lot of
43
space
meters.
we're talking about. The space of a front lawn, right?
Space of a front lawn.
And he asserts that the black circle...
If you looked at your own phone, like on Google Maps or something, and you found out like where your pin is, it's pretty close to like where you are in the house, but it's also a little bit off,
Right.
That's not like, it's not like a Scud missile strike. It's still going to get you. It's close enough.
It's pretty close. I mean, if you use Apple Maps, it does get you walking down the street pretty accurately.
Yeah, sure.
That being said, so the black circle is the one he says is the more likely to be accurate circle, and the white circle is less likely to be accurate, and the white circle has almost all of the house in it. All right. So that's what this chart and this chalk were supposed to demonstrate.
And just look at that black circle. The center of that black circle was over near the flagpole.
Yes.
Okay.
It was pretty much the flagpole.
So trying to demonstrate that the phone was where John's body was.
Right.
Okay.
So another very important thing that got brought up today, and I will say really bothers the state's case in a big way.
Okay.
We know that the state's car data expert is going to say that the collision trigger event was at 12:31:28. Okay?
Okay.
But 12:31:56, so 28 seconds later, is the start of John O'Keefe's device moving.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
So if he was hit at 12:31:28, he ostensibly walked 36 steps beginning at 12:32:16, almost a full minute later, after they are going to assert the crash actually happened.
Okay.
All right. And that's something we know because it came up during cross-examination today. Alessi said, are you aware that the state's other expert using your data in some part is going to say this? And Bev didn't allow the question to be finished, but he answered the question anyway.
Right.
So it was like, strike that, but it was obviously very clear.
So the idea may be here that the state has two witnesses whose technology is going to contradict their theory of the case, basically saying one's going to say the accident happened at this second, and the other one's going to say 30 seconds afterwards, after that thing, John is walking with his phone.
Yeah, at 12:32:09.
Okay.
It's locked with a button, side button. Okay. Before that, 12:32.
Right. Blocked doesn't mean like it goes to.
They know the difference between.
They know the difference.
The phone can say this is. I learned so much about iPhones.
Oh,
The iPhone, by the way, no one can get the data from the iPhone. Period.
Yeah,
it's not accessible. Apple has a proprietary right to it, and nobody can get to it. Which is why companies like Celebrite exist to extract data and then interpret that data. Okay. iPhone itself has everything in it that you would possibly need, but you can't get that.
Tim Cook would know, but nobody else.
Tim Apple, you mean?
Tim Apple. Yes,
exactly.
Yeah.
So, for instance, 12:32:06, the message that Jen McCabe sent John O'Keefe, she sent him that message during the 12:31 timestamp, but he read it with his face opening the phone at 12:32:06. Again, after the crash event alleged by the state. All right?
All right, okay.
So all this stuff happens afterwards. Now, the timeline stuff is really important, but another thing happened that was also really important on the stand. Actually, like 3 things happened that were important, but a big one was that Ian Whiffen also made charts and graphs about the battery temperature of John O'Keefe's iPhone. All right, so he asserted that John O'Keefe's iPhone basically dropped, all this temperature between, the trigger event time or the last motion time and 6:00 in the morning when he would have been found. Okay.
All right.
So he performed 2 tests to prove the veracity of this thing, that when a phone is in a cold place, the battery gets colder. Test 1, he put the phone in a freezer.
Okay.
He doesn't know the temperature of the freezer in which he put the phone.
No, it's usually in the 20s, 10.
Could be anything, but he doesn't know it because he didn't measure it, which is really weird. A lot of these experiments are weird, okay? He doesn't know the temperature of the freezer.
Doesn't have a thermometer?
No.
There's a little button that says set it to this?
No.
Jesus
He didn't
Christ.
know.
All right.
So after 15 minutes.
Yay, science. All right.
After 15 minutes in the freezer, the phone battery temperature changed by 30 degrees Fahrenheit, okay?
Oh, well, that'd be great if John were found inside that freezer.
Which is about a 3.33 per minute drop in temperature by degrees.
All right.
One funny thing that kept coming up today, it's actually important in a minute, is that Ian Whiffen is from Europe.
Right.
So he does everything in Celsius, and in real time, Alessi was doing the Fahrenheit conversion and the meters to feet conversion for him, because his reports all say metric scale stuff.
Yes, and his times all are 24-hour clocks.
Exactly,
instead of
which
12.
is not uncommon because those come from data extractions. All right, so the test 2, he took the same phone. It was a cold day, 33.8 degrees Fahrenheit, and he put the phone outside for 13 minutes. And the temperature drop was 35 degrees in 13 minutes. So a little less than 3 minutes, 3 degrees per minute, right?
Did you say what he put it on? A rock?
It was just outside.
But just outside?
I think he put it like on the ground or something.
On the ground? On the cold ground?
Or on the table. I don't know. So he did these experiments. And first of all, there's a few things that are weird about these experiments. One is that the experiments themselves were different lengths of time. One was 15 minutes and one was 13 minutes.
The fuck does this prove? All right.
Second is he knew the temperature of the outdoor area, but did not know the temperature of the freezer. Third, and most important, Alessi said to him, so the phone was outside and just over freezing temperatures. And he said, no, it was below freezing. And Alessi had to tell him that 32 degrees Fahrenheit is freezing. He did not know that. He says he did not know that. All right.
He's just so used to being 0 Celsius. It's just like making it easy for him.
He has testified in a lot of trials, have written a lot of reports. And he does not know that the cell phone was outside in temperatures that were freezing, because 32 degrees Fahrenheit is freezing. All right.
Right. Okay. And none of this is actually the temperature that night?
He doesn't know what the temperature that night was. He never asked.
What the fuck science experiment is this?
He never asked and doesn't know.
A whole bunch of the variables are all different?
That's right.
All right.
And he says he never asked because the whole purpose of the experiment was to prove that batteries get colder when phones are in cold temperatures. That's what he says. All right.
Do it.
So.
Isn't it supposed to be to prove how much it gets colder?
Yeah.
But not. Oh, Jesus. All right.
All right. So.
ARCCA, all right.
They never discussed the fact that the temperature outside didn't match with his experiments. They never discussed it.
Okay.
They never discussed the fact that the temperature could be correlated to John O'Keefe's location. Apparently, they never discussed it, him with Hank Brennan. Now, John O'Keefe's actual phone temperature at the time of the drop-off at 34 Fairview was 72 degrees.
Okay.
8 minutes later, it had only dropped by 6 degrees. That's much less than the just under 3 to 3.3 degrees per minute, okay?
Okay, sure.
After half an hour, 12:37 to 12:53, it dropped just 11 degrees. And by 6:06 a.m., it had only dropped 7 more degrees. So overnight, only 7 more degrees. It was like 50-something by the time when they found it, okay?
All right.
So...
But the temperature was going down on the battery.
Temperature was going down on the battery, and it sort of hit a steady state and then started going down again.
Now, wouldn't that apply that the phone was outside?
It would apply that the phone was somewhere. And one of the things that got brought up today was the garage or a space that was indoors but not outside. There was a couple of allusions to that today, all right? But the bottom line is the phone temperature drop did not in any way replicate the experiments that he did. And Alessi asked him, did you not discuss with the prosecutor that your experiments didn't line up with the results of what actually happened when you got John's phone extraction? He said, no, we never talked about it. By the way, that's exculpatory information, right?
Okay, yeah.
It was in the report, which they had, but it's exculpatory information.
Right.
Now we move on to the search, the famous, what time?
2:27.
2:27.
House long to die in snow.
House long to die in snow.
Right.
Interestingly, want to hear something funny?
Yeah.
What time did Jen McCabe get on the stand today? Exactly 2:27 p.m.
2:27.
No shit. That's what happened. A bunch of people confirmed it.
Yeah.
Weird, right?
Yeah,
All
but
right.
actually to her it was 6:30. But okay.
So, do you know what a hash value is?
Yeah, we were talking about this before. It's a little piece of code which is almost like an authenticator, timestamp, whatever, but it also verifies that this is the original untampered with data.
Right.
Kind of a fingerprint or something like that.
Right. And Alessi made an incredible metaphor that Whiffen agreed with him was a decent metaphor.
Okay.
What he said is that the hash value is like a cap on a bottle of milk with a seal on it.
Right. Okay.
Right? And if you receive a bottle of milk that's been opened, you have maybe more doubts about that bottle of milk, whether or not someone's, drunk it out of the bottle, or whether or not it's warmer, or whether or not it's spoiled, or whether or not there's not even milk in there. Okay. This is the inference he was making. Yeah. And Ian Whiffen agreed that that's a decent metaphor.
Yeah.
So Ian Whiffen, the data that he got to analyze had a hash value that matched his hash value, but he cannot verify the integrity of the original hash value he was given. So in essence, he was given an open bottle of milk to study.
And who gave him that?
The
Massachusetts State Police?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. The things that they give.
Yes.
Okay.
Interestingly, you remember how
best practice would be that you'd be able to get it and be able to see that the original hash value is authentic and legitimate and it's beyond question.
Right.
And instead, he's just
hoping.
He's using the hash value, but it's under the assumption that it's proven to be authentic.
Right.
But
he
it
cannot
wasn't
say
authenticated.
For sure. Right.
Yeah.
And he admitted, I can't say for sure. I can't verify its authenticity. It's just what I had, but it matches what it's supposed to match and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
All right. So now we get to the Has Long to Die in Snow search.
Okay.
This got a little complicated on the stand, but actually I can break it down for you because Alessi did such a good job. I'm telling you, he did such a good job with this that I followed it moment to moment. And this was so boring yesterday when Brennan was asking Ian Whiffen about it. And the last time he testified in trial when Lally was questioning him, so boring. And Alessi made this super interesting by using metaphors like the milk thing and by explaining things really, really well. So Ian Whiffen works at Celebrate. He has now testified in trial 1 and in this trial that it is his opinion that Jen McCabe made that search after 6 a.m. because he says that the new version of Celebrite software shows that. It shows that it was in a tab that was opened earlier and that she did that search at that time and that's when it clocked the search because she closed the tab, all right? That's what he asserts. Do you know why Celebrite updated that software to take that 227 timestamp out?
Does it have something to do with the first trial?
It's because of problems with this case.
Okay.
It's because of this case that Celebrate made the decision to use this new tool that Ian Whiffen wrote to show that the search didn't happen at 2:27 a.m. All right?
Okay. So this is more than just like an upgrade to software.
It's
which,
absolutely.
I mean, they're always going to be,
it's kind of a new version.
Every company should continue to be doing that.
Right.
Yeah, all right.
And Alessi questioned him on this. At the time of the first trial, Celebrite still had 2 tools.
At the time of trial, yes, last year in June, when you were testifying under oath, one of the Celebrite tools showed the timestamp of 2:27:40 a.m., correct?
Correct.
But that timestamp doesn't exist anymore, and it doesn't exist today, does it?
Correct.
Celebrate removed it.
Yes.
Then he brings up another company called Magnet Forensics, and they have a program called Axiom.
Okay.
Ian Whiffen said on the stand more than once that Magnet Forensics and Axiom is a very reputable, I believe he said something like there's no one more reputable company, a competitor to Celebrate, all right?
I bet the boss loved hearing that, but continue.
Right. The Axiom software still shows today the 2:27 timestamp. I mean, he got to ask him the question like, Celebrite decided to take out the 2:27 stuff out of this report, and the answer is yes. They decided that. They made a decision to do that
on the most important piece of extracted data.
Right.
He said, well, let's just leave some of it out.
Right. He did say, by the way, do you understand the significance of why this 2:27 dispute matters?
He asked the witness this?
He asked the witness this, and he said he did. He understood.
Everybody does.
Yes.
Okay.
Then he was asked if an iPhone can tell the difference between walking and driving. He said it can. He said, we actually only know some of why it can because it's proprietary, but it uses a variety of things. It uses latitude, longitude, satellite data. It uses, the internal gyroscope stuff.
Most people don't walk at 35 miles an hour.
Right.
Yeah,
and it uses all this stuff, but it does. Remember.
It counts your steps.
Right. Now, Ian Whiffen said that he compared the phone and the topology of the town of Canton and then did some kind of test where he drove the same route.
Sure
and
did.
his phone clocked with the same iOS or a similar iOS, the 3 floors of steps. Interestingly, when Alessi was questioning him about it on cross, Beverly did not let him talk about that test. She sustained an objection by the prosecution. So he was not allowed to re-examine that test with this witness.
Okay.
All right?
Wait, so they just left it in front of the
It's
jury?
just been left.
It cannot be challenged at this point?
Yes, but remember, he just said that the iPhone knows the difference between walking and driving.
Okay.
So he did get that in.
Okay, all right.
All right.
All right, but now the jury also thinks that this guy drove around, and all of a sudden, for some reason, there's a part of Canton where the roads make it look like you're going up and down stairs.
That's right. That's right.
So are those called potholes?
Have
or
you
what
seen a photograph of this road?
No, of Fairview or a different road?
The road that they claim.
Oh, no.
Have you seen a photograph of it?
No,
Do you want to guess what that photograph looks like?
flat road.
Looks like a flat ass road.
Flat ass road.
All right. So one of
Okay.
the final things he said on this cross-examination, which was stunning. This is the definition of reasonable doubt. Alessi kept asking him, was the 224 search artifact or even your artifact marked as deleted?
Yeah.
And he said yes. But it's his opinion, he said yesterday in his testimony, that the search wasn't manually deleted. So he said yes, it was in a deleted state. And Alessi said, you testified that you don't think it was deleted. Can you explain why you don't think that was deleted? And Ian Whiffen said, I swear to God.
Yeah, I have an idea how it occurred, but I can't prove it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
No, please finish. I want to make sure you finish.
I have an idea of how it occurred, but I've not been able to replicate it, so my idea is unsubstantiated.
I haven't been able to make the science back up my thought, as opposed to the other way
But
around.
it's still my opinion.
So my opinion.
I just haven't been able to replicate it. It's sort of like when you take your car to the mechanic and you've been telling him it's making a noise and it doesn't make the noise, they don't check anything, right?
Yeah, right.
But no, remember, he's working on this for years.
Years and years.
Has not been able to replicate it. Now keep in mind, he was a very cooperative
I know how to
witness.
replicate it. Zoop. Swipe right. Boom. Okay.
One of my
Deleted.
observations here is that there were a couple moments where I was like, does Whiffen think Karen Reed is innocent? Because he seems very eager to answer some of these questions.
Right.
It was like a weird dynamic.
Oh, okay.
All right. So redirect.
Yeah.
Hank Brennan.
Rehabilitate his own witness. Okay.
Trying to. Hank Brennan basically says, I never told you what to look for, right? What kinds of things can have effects on location data? One of them is weather and so forth. And then he says, can you now do a live demonstration of this tab?
Oh, this is why I walked away. Okay. Tell me what I missed.
What you missed is Ian Whiffen pulling up on the big screen from his computer a picture of a phone, which is ostensibly has the same exact iOS as Jen McCabe's phone, and one of those like code file things on the side, with folders
Sure,
and stuff
yeah,
like you're building
yeah.
a website.
Yeah.
And he demonstrated,
So he's not clicking on a phone with his thumbs. He's got it attached to a laptop where he's able to analyze things that you can't normally do.
Right.
Okay.
So there were 2 folders present in the little folder that logs events. And he said, I can't take those 2 out right now because it would basically reset the whole thing. And I did a test earlier and that's what that is. So ignore that. Right. So he did one search on the phone in Safari, like of a number. Right.
Yeah.
And then he refreshed the thing on the side and no new event showed up in the folder tab.
Okay.
He did it again. A minute later, no new event showed up in the folder tab. And meanwhile, he's closing the tab, shutting, swiping Safari out, whatever. A minute later, he does the search again, a new search with a new number, closes the tab, and then it shows up in his little folder. So he says, see, that's why it would be marked at that time, even though I did that first search 2 minutes ago.
Okay.
All right. So that's the point he was making.
All right.
Couple of problems with this demonstration. He just said he wrote this software. Like he just said.
Yeah.
And when he was talking about the software, he's like, I make this available for free on my website. And he like talked about his website. And by the way, he's a blogger too. And they talk about it being a blogger
Who is hiring this guy? Just like, oh, thanks. He seems to be like giving away all the work.
Yeah.
And
I don't know how Celebrate's going to feel about this testimony at all. All right. So he essentially said, when did you create this demonstration? And he said, just now. I did it just now. And he was like, so a lot of this happened and these demonstrations and stuff happened like after this 227 timestamp removal from Celebrate? And he was like, yes. But it wasn't clear that he meant yes. He just meant yes to the specific question that Alessi was asking. But it was still kind of damning, honestly. Like this was a Alessi recross question, right? So then he asked again, Alessi and recross, magnetic forensics, their program Axiom still shows the 227 timestamp. Are they a reliable forensic tool company?
And Magnet Forensic is a reliable forensic tool company, correct?
Ian Whiffin's answer?
As reliable as they come, yes.
As reliable as they come.
Do you think that's helpful for the Commonwealth?
I don't know. I think that Whiffy needs to start updating his LinkedIn page. No. So it seems like the state's own witness did an awful lot to undermine the technology and the findings by contradicting everything.
Yes. Contradicting the timeline of what the state asserts is when John O'Keefe was hit.
Yeah.
Contradicting, he had mixed messaging about the location of the phone. He admitted on the stand it could have been in the house or the garage. He then did this whole thing about the search, which was on software they wrote because of this case.
God. By God. And the funny thing here is, as for all the press that How Long to Die in Snow gets, if it is disproven, right, if he's right in that, this actually was
doesn't
just
really
a photo
fucking
thing,
matter that much.
It doesn't really matter because it doesn't prove or disprove Karen's innocence or guilt or anything like that, because all the other searches that she made on the phone after that were all kind of How Long to Die in the Snow. So you might say, well, it makes sense that was the first one and yada yada. But if they do prove that it happened there, that is sort of a game over, right?
Yes.
So, because there's no other way to explain.
There's another
that
purpose
search.
to this, though. There's another whole other purpose about the phone search stuff and the discrepancy stuff.
Okay.
The purpose is to display to the jury the quality of the investigation that the state has done in this case.
Okay.
The fact that they have bent over backward, appearingly, to make it seem like their theories are the truth by massaging things here and there. And there's going to be a pattern of that throughout the case. And this is a big piece of that pattern. A software company developed a new tool because this timestamp was showing up in this case, right?
Yeah.
That is damning. I mean, it might be completely coincidental, but the bottom line is that Celebrite still has the data of the 227 timestamp. The new tool just doesn't show it. That was one of my big takeaways from this.
Okay. All right. All right. Sidebar.
Long ass sidebar after Whiffen gets off the stand.
Does this have to do with The Rock?
Oh,
is there an update on The Rock?
I forgot to mention The Rock. I can't believe it. At the beginning of court today, Bev instructed the jury that the lawyers had gotten together and stipulated that they should ignore a rock that was present on the lawn at 34 Fairview.
A rock.
Because it was not present on January 28th, 29th, 2022. So that instruction, that curative instruction has happened. You feel better?
Yes and no.
I don't feel better.
I mean, if the jury, you take them at their word, then they're not going to be sitting there scratching
I feel fine about that part, yeah.
Yeah, you're thinking, that was the thing. Still, somebody took the time to mock up a rock. And the reason it says Albert's is to try to, I think...
Albert, yeah.
I think it's trying to, fake the timestamp on this rock.
Right.
So everyone thinks, no, this isn't a new rock. It's been there forever.
By the way, have you really looked at the rock? There's something else weird about the rock.
Oh, what is weird about the rock?
There's a smudge through the second half of the word Albert, like it's a reddish smudge. It's really fucking weird. It's a weird-ass rock.
Yeah, look, there are so many fanatics on either side. This could be a prank. This could be something more nefarious. But somebody deliberately placed a rock there for the jury to see and then retrieved it and took it away.
It was a huge mistake by that person to put the word Albert on the rock or to use a rock that already said Albert, because if they had gotten there...
It called to itself.
If they had gone there and there was just a rock there, A, it would have been less likely to be noticed if it didn't say Albert on it. B, they could assume that the new homeowners may have put it there as like a decorative rock or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Neither one of those things is true for sure because this rock said Albert on it. It's real fucked up.
Yeah. No,
I'm dying. Rockgate to me is like one of the most interesting things about this whole case so far.
Okay.
I told Jason Moon, investigative reporter, about it at work, and he was like, what? And I was like, exactly, Jason. He's the most measured human being in the world.
Again, it doesn't seem like the case is going to, rise or fall on this particular rock, but the fact that somebody went to the trouble to do this, people are like, well, what does that mean? Well, maybe the rock was in the basement or what? That doesn't matter. But you find out who and you'll get to why, as opposed to, was this really real evidence or not?
Right. So I won't get you too excited about what we're going to talk about next, because I just want to say we have not even finished direct examination yet with Jen McCabe. She came on the stand today, as I said, at 2:27, and court ended at 3:55. Not even 4.
Okay.
3:55.
Right.
Beverly Cannoni, she gets tired.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And apparently Jen McCabe's got a little bit of a new look.
A glow up.
A
couple of things I noticed about her today, and these are my objective observations having watched her first testimony and today.
You mean your subjective observations?
My subjective. Yeah. Some of them are objective. Her hair is different. Her hair has highlights. It's much softer looking, like these caramel colored highlights. Her makeup is very different. She's wearing a lot of bronzer. It's kind of soft, but she's wearing a ton of bronzer and blush. And some people have said, by the way, and this, I'm not saying this is why, that she gets very red and blotchy at certain times in her testimony. And I will tell you, her makeup today, if she'd gotten blotchy, you would not have seen those blotches, for sure.
Okay.
Third, she has definitely been coached on demeanor. And fourth, there's a new technique being introduced here in this testimony that didn't happen in the first trial, where she keeps asserting again and again, and Hank is soliciting it, that Karen frequently that morning said things 3 times. She said, Jen, Jen, Jen. She said, Carrie, Carrie, Carrie. She said, could I have hit him? Could I have hit him? Could I have hit him? Why do you think they are doing that?
Because they already impeached one witness on the I hit him. You either 2 times, 3 times. So I think they want to put the they want to make Karen read like one of the characters in the opening from Goodfellas. Tommy 2 times, gonna get the papers. We're gonna keep like doing that thing. Oh, that's why she said it. She must have said it 3 times because she says everything.
She says everything 3 times.
Okay.
All right. Another observation, and this is a result of the questioning that opened this. Jen McCabe is being portrayed by the Commonwealth as a regular soccer mom, and I'm, sports mom is how she described herself as a sports mom. She has 4 daughters from 16 to 21.
Okay.
Now remember, they would have been 13 to 18 at the time.
Yeah, high school or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
They all would have been high school or younger or beginning of college and younger. But now they're 16 to 21. They all
she's
live
a
at
soccer mom, literally.
They lean
lacrosse,
fully into sports.
Hockey.
They go to tons of games every Saturday. In fact, they were going to, the reason they all got together Friday night, the 28th, of 2022 was because they knew that Saturday sports were going to be canceled because of the snowstorm.
Okay.
So it's just like, I am a mother. I identify as a mother, which is what I said yesterday.
Except when it snows, we can go and get drunk.
Her full identity, like her persona that she wants people to believe, and I think she believes this herself, and I think it's not unimportant, is as a mother.
Right.
And I think a huge part of her motivations in this trial and in this case is to protect her own kid.
Yeah, okay.
And it honestly lines up very much with the persona that she's trying to portray. So she started talking about going out that night to the waterfall. Now, she didn't go to CF McCarthy's. She met everybody afterward at the waterfall. Why? Why do you think?
Oh, she had a...
Sports.
Basketball game or something? Sports.
Yes, sports all day. Okay. Yes, there's a basketball game that day. One of the things I just want to mention, and I think about this when Hank Brennan talks, but now I'm thinking about it triple fold while Jen McCabe's talking. If there are people in our audience who are watching this trial who have never known anyone from the Boston area before, like, Southie or, Canton or like this county in Massachusetts.
Charlestown.
What do you think people think of these accents?
They think, this is the accent that I've heard Ben Affleck do in all these movies and stuff. And he's a little Mark Wahlberg. I think, it's like, weren't these fake accents before?
I will say,
like foghorn leghorn. I say, boy, but only from Boston.
I will say that an observation I have seen online about Karen in particular is that the way that these women talk is brutish and shrill and all this stuff. I'm like, no, it's just the fucking accent. Like that's literally what it sounds like. It's clipped.
Yeah.
The vowels are flat.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's hard as hell.
That's not a character issue with individual people.
No, but it is. The talking, though, is just so distinct that when a movie's made out of this, if someone doesn't do the accent right, people are going to notice. All right?
Yeah, okay.
So a couple of things happened today that were a little different than the last time that Jen McCabe testified.
Okay, so you got the patterns of 3.
Patterns of 3.
All right. Glow up. What else?
She characterized her relationship with John O'Keefe pretty differently than she did the last trial.
All right.
Every time she talks about her relationship with John O'Keefe, they get closer and closer and closer. So in this trial, they were great friends. They used to get together for drinks. It would be like pick up, drop off at each other's houses, and they would hang out, and they were very close. In previous testimony, they knew each other well because her daughter is friends with John O'Keefe's niece, and that was like the foundation of the friendship. But in this version, they talked all the time about the girls, about being, they were very, very close in this version.
Right. I guess she and Carrie have been working on a new timeline.
Well, we'll get to Carrie in a second.
All right.
Another thing that changed is that she seems to like Karen or have liked Karen a lot more in this version of the testimony than she has. I really, really liked her. She has MS. I have MS. John introduced us because he thought that, we're about the same age and we have the same thing and we'd have lots to talk about. And he was right. We did have a lot. We got along really well.
I don't have an axe to grind against Karen Reed.
Right. I always liked her from the beginning. And they only saw each other when John was around, notably. So they weren't independent friends. But in this version of it, she liked her a lot. I like
John, so I like his girlfriend.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
In this version, she says that at the waterfall, it was Brian Albert who invited people back, everyone to come back to the house. Last trial, Brian Albert said he had no idea. He thought Jen invited them back to the house. But now she very clearly remembers him inviting her back to the house.
Okay.
One thing hasn't changed. In Jen McCabe's testimony, the mystery of the white Jeep. Do you know about this?
No.
All right. Jen McCabe, Matt McCabe, Brian Higgins, and Brian Albert. No one else in any reports or testimony says that when they arrived, because Brian Higgins got there first, and that throughout the night, Brian Higgins' white Jeep was parked on the street next to the driveway, a white Jeep with a plow.
Okay.
There's a lot of conversation about why, like Ryan Nagel says he pulled up directly behind Karen. Wouldn't have been possible if that white Jeep were there. Okay. Ryan Nagel says that he, saw, I believe he said he saw just Karen in the car. He didn't see any damage to a taillight or anything like that. And he pulled up right behind her. So that would not have been possible if that was.
So the question about like whether or not like he parked his car on the street in the middle of a blizzard.
The question is, this white Jeep keeps appearing in some people's testimonies and not in other people's testimonies.
All right.
And the question is why. And there's a couple theories about why.
Okay. Is it a rock Jeep?
One theory about why is that Brian Higgins does not want to be, they want testimony that he was driving his cop car, his job car, because he was a DEA agent.
His cruiser,
while drinking.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
And so he didn't have a cruiser. He had like a DEA-issued vehicle, right?
Yeah. Because none of these cops do that.
Right. That's a very simple explanation.
Okay.
By the way, the white Jeep only appeared after the 3 people in the Ryan Nagel car talked to the cops. It never appeared before that in any other interviews, okay? Another theory is that the white Jeep might explain why when some people drove out, they didn't see John's body on the lawn.
Oh, okay. They're trying to say it's a visual obstruction.
Right. It was a visual obstruction. So that's another big theory. So we don't really know. One thing that's interesting, though, is that Higgins says his Jeep isn't white. It's gray. And he says, it's got a plow. And it's a weird indiscrepancy with the Jeep. But the white Jeep, the fact that some people saw it and others didn't, is like a weird ass thing. And the Jeep comes up like very intentionally in Jen McCabe's testimony again.
Okay, they're going somewhere with these things.
Another thing that happened, didn't change. Jen McCabe told the story of playing the It's Raining Men video
Jesus Christ.
at 34 Fairview when everyone's hanging out in the kitchen. And the reason she says she played it is because it's a big joke in their family. Her sister likes to dance around with an umbrella to that song, blah, 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 blah. And they watched it and they were all laughing about it. What is the problem with that?
The fact that it's the weather girl singing It's Raining Men?
What's the problem with her asserting they watched that at 34 Fairview?
Oh, I don't know.
That Ian Whiffen has said the tab was opened earlier on the 28th, not early morning of the 29th.
Okay.
So that it would not have lined up with when she says.
So she's saying that the It's Raining Men tab is the original tab.
It was one of the tabs on her phone that was given notice, right?
Okay.
And Ian Whiffen testified yesterday that it was opened earlier And remember, he's the expert on when tabs are open now and closed, right?
Yeah.
He says that tab was already open. And so the timing doesn't line up with Jen McCabe saying that. But for some reason, she thinks it's very important always to say this. It's raining men thing. I'm guessing because it shows up in her data and she wants to explain it in some way.
Yeah, and that timeline aligns with when they would have been at the Alberts house?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So something else that's new. Jen and Matt McCabe drove Julie Nagel and Sarah Levinson home that night, they say, at about 1:30 in the morning. All right? Sarah Levinson is one of Brian Jr.'s friends. She was a nurse. Julie Nagel is also one of the friends. Ryan Nagel is her brother. He's the one that allegedly came earlier, and she said, I don't want to go home yet, and he left. So another different thing, by the way, is Jennifer says that she didn't really know Julie Nagel that well, and that's a little bit different than her prior testimony. But that's not important right now. During explaining this driving out of the driveway and driving home, remember, they got out of the driveway, made a right out of the driveway. They weren't facing out, but they would have, if they were facing, they would have made a right. So they would have passed John O'Keefe's body. They would have passed the flagpole area. She said, and this is new, that she was talking to the girls in the back seat like this. Now, she was looking over her other shoulder because she was in the passenger seat.
All right, she turned her head.
So she turned her head like this.
Yeah.
And he said, why is that significant? And she said, well, because I was doing this to talk to the girls in the back seat. This is the explanation for why she wouldn't have seen, allegedly, John's body on the lawn. And this is new.
Wait, she's driving and she's passenger?
She's passenger.
Okay.
And she looked over her left shoulder to the back seat. Therefore, her back of her head was facing the flagpole area.
Yeah.
And this is going to be why, ostensibly, she didn't see the body, John's body by the flagpole, which, according to them, would have been there by that time.
Oh, they got answers for everything. Okay.
Right.
I mean, they got answers now.
Another thing that's new is that Jen McCabe said that Karen said she cracked her taillight in that 5 a.m. phone call with Jen. That's new. We used to hear that she said it in the car or that she said it in John's driveway. This is new that she's now saying it happened on that first phone call where she talked to Karen after. By the way, the first phone call she received was from John O'Keefe's niece, and she heard Karen Reed screaming in the background. But now she's saying Karen told her about the taillight on that call. That's new. Another thing that's new, well, in a different way. It's been presented before, but not quite this way. You don't know who the Beatties are because we haven't talked about them on this podcast.
Right.
So the Beatties, I think it's the Beatties, but it looks like Ned Beatty. The Beatties, Tom Beatty and his daughter, Erin. All right. Erin got a phone call from Colin Albert at 12:33 on the night that John O'Keefe was killed. Erin was apparently telling people that she got this call from Colin Albert at 12:33 at some point, and the McAlberts started harassing her. And there is this thing that's come up a few times where Jen McCabe herself said, put a dick in your mouth and stop talking to people, like something like that. But she was harassed by the McAlberts after, and then she stopped talking about it. Her father, Tom, lives close to the Alberts house, the 34 Fairview, and was friends with John O'Keefe. And Tom Beatty is who Jen McCabe says she thought that John was at the Beatty's house, that he had just walked over there and fallen asleep before she suspected at all or saw the body on the lawn. Okay. So the Beattys now play a bigger part in this story than they did before.
Are they on the witness list?
They're on the defense's witness list.
Oh, okay. So they're okay. All right. Is it at all possible, in your opinion, that Tom and Erin could be the source of the original phone call, we'll call it the deep throat call?
Sure. I mean, they haven't officially said, people say it's this guy Steve Scanlon or whatever, but they absolutely could be that.
Yeah, okay. Because if that's accurate, the information came from within that circle out to someone.
Right.
And it looks like, okay, there's a bit of a reach out between Colin and a person outside the family who might be compelled to talk and do the right thing. Right.
All right. We're getting to the end of where the testimony ended.
Okay.
Jen was asked if she was good friends with Carrie before this, and she said she'd only met her one time before this. They were not friends. She was very adamant in kind of a mean way that they were not friends before this. Carrie was John O'Keefe's friend. And Carrie and Jen both interacted with him and his kids, like taking the kids for overnights and stuff. And he apparently once, years before, said, I get a discount at Reebok. I don't know why he does, but he does. But I want to buy you and your kids sneakers to thank you for all you've done to help me with the kids, right?
Yeah.
Now remember, John O'Keefe's sister and brother-in-law both died. His sister had cancer and his brother-in-law had a heart attack, and they both died. And so John moved into their house with their kids.
Yeah.
So this
became a surrogate father.
He became a surrogate father.
Yep.
So she said she's never met Carrie before this, but after this, of course, we've heard they've become very close and they talk all the time, including probably today, because they talked the day that Carrie testified, remember?
Yeah.
All right, so the shoes thing came up again. They arrive at John O'Keefe's house because that's where Carrie wants to go first. And Jen thought it was strange when they were both taking off their shoes because they knew John would yell at them if they didn't.
Jesus, this is how the Baskervilles.
They thought it was very strange that Karen did not take off her shoes. Now, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
If Karen were truly hysterical, which nobody denies she was, everyone describes her as hysterical whether they think she's guilty or not. Do you think she is plausible that state of hysteria over where the fuck John was may have been the reason why she just ran in without taking her shoes off? Or do you think
if she stopped and took her shoes off first, that's what you'd be talking about? She's not really upset.
Because she stopped to take her. Thank you. If she had taken her shoes off, it would have been. Because she was calm.
Right. Because then they're also saying she didn't take her shoes off because she knew he was dead.
And he wouldn't care because he was dead.
Yeah.
If she had stopped to take them off, they would say, that's weird because she seemed really upset. But she must have known he was dead because she took the time to take her shoes off.
Did she wait for the car to come to a complete stop before she got out?
This is a no-win situation.
Yeah.
It's a no-win situation.
Yeah.
All right, so
silly.
A reminder, another new fact that has come up because of video is that Carrie and Jen's story prior to this has been that Karen pointed out her cracked taillight to them in John O'Keefe's driveway as they were walking into the house. Now, remember, when Carrie Roberts was testifying, she saw the video of that interaction and she sort of changed her story to, it must have happened when we were leaving the house. And of course, that video is missing. All right?
Yeah.
So today, Jen said, unprovoked, when asked about, did Karen point anything out to you? She said, well, I thought it was when we were walking into the house that she pointed out the taillight, but it could have been when we were walking out. So now it's like the story has shifted because there's video.
Yeah.
When they drove up to 34 Fairview, Jen said she was looking out the car windows, but Karen wasn't. Why is that significant?
Because
Karen knew where the body was.
Karen knew where the body was.
She doesn't need to look outside. She knows where the body is. She described doing resuscitation.
I got to tell you, if John's body were found on some random lawn, it would be like, wow, that was pretty coincidental that she just knew to look there. They're pulling up at the house where she
thinks he is. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So to have her attention focused on that, it does not seem to be like a huge stretch.
And she went flying out of that car. She was doing mouth to mouth.
Yeah.
By the way, doing mouth to mouth on a dead person is grim. That is fucking grim, right?
Yeah.
So imagine that you were so hysterical and so upset that you fly out of the car, start doing mouth to mouth. She dropped her phone. It was on in the back seat.
Yeah.
She flew out of that car and immediately started trying to render aid. And then the final piece of testimony of the day was that Jen McCabe described doing compressions on John and how weird it was, how it felt funny was the word she used, because that's when she realized he was dead. Like there was a resistance in the compression. So I think she's also trying to imply that maybe he was a little frozen.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, so that was the end at 3:55. Beverly ended testimony for the day because God forbid you go to even 4. Although yesterday they went a little later for the voir dire stuff. But that's what happened today. So tomorrow we're going to get finish of direct with Jen McCabe. I don't know how long that's going to last because we still have a bunch of story to go over.
Right.
Of all the, events afterwards, everything that shows up on her cell records, etc. But a couple things I wanted to point out timeline wise.
Yeah.
And I brought down a little bit of Jen McCabe's phone data. So Jen McCabe texted John O'Keefe, pull up behind me at 12:31. She claimed today that she, was texting and looking out the window when she would text, right? So she said she texted him at 12:31, pull behind me. Now, remember that the Commonwealth says the strike event happened around 12:31, but she's saying that she saw the SUV over by the flagpole at that point.
Okay.
And then she texted him at 12:40, hello, and then at 12:42, where are you? 12:45, hello again. And she says that they left at 1:30. So there are all of these missed calls to him from her between 12:41 and 12:50, and those were all deleted from her phone. So those missed calls are mysterious. Some people posit that they were looking for John's phone at that point during the missed calls. So as you see there, they're all in red because they were all deleted.
Right. And a couple, within just seconds of each other.
Right.
Okay.
So that's what happened. Oh, one final thing.
Yeah.
She says they got home 1:30ish in the morning. I left around 1:30ish in the morning. I got home a little while later after dropping the 2 girls off. Matt stayed in the kitchen to have a snack. She went upstairs to go to bed, but she didn't go to sleep right away. She spent some time Googling basketball leagues because her daughter had been invited to join a basketball league and she wanted to check it out. And then eventually Matt came up and they went to sleep. Did you sleep through the night? She was asked. I usually get up to go to the bathroom, was her answer. So obviously they're laying the groundwork for her health data, which shows her pacing basically all night and looking at her phone and pacing. It's going to be like she was going to the bathroom.
Yeah.
So that's what they were laying
a lot
down
of
there.
times.
Yeah, so tomorrow they will finish.
I bet Proctor doesn't have a disgusting text message about that.
Probably not.
No.
Finally, we didn't mention this yesterday, but the Supreme Court is not taking up Karen Read's case, which is 0% surprising.
Yeah,
I didn't even think to mention it yesterday because it wasn't even surprising to me.
Yeah.
But that's what happened today. And everyone is looking forward to tomorrow, which is going to be, I'm sure, a full Jen McCabe day. She was in the stand for 3 days last time.
Yeah.
So there's going to be
half day already, and
half day. I'm sure there's going to be at least a couple more hours of direct examination.
Well, you already pulled up a couple of things that they're going to have to ask her about these changing stories between this test. I mean, and that how does this even line up with other proceedings?
And we do know who's questioning her because you can tell who's going to ask the questions based on who objects. You know who it is?
Is it Jackson?
Alan Jackson.
Alan Jackson.
Who she, last trial, if you didn't watch it, did not get along with when she was on the stand.
She fucking hates him.
She was visibly upset, angry. He makes her angry. So it'll be interesting to see if her new training has helped her with that emotional regulation or not. So anyway, there we are, Kevin. That's today's edition of the Readathon. What do you think?
I think we got you got plenty to talk about. Who knew it was going to be so exciting?
Final question.
Yeah.
Knowing what you know about the Commonwealth's expert and how poorly it went for them today with this expert, do you think that the defense would be justified in not even bringing in a cell phone expert for the defense? But I think they still should. But some people are saying, like, if the trial ended today, mic dropped today, there's no way after today that she would be convicted. But that cell phone evidence has now all been debunked. Their expert testimony has all been debunked. So
yeah, no, I still think you need to bring in your own because you certainly want to make it. Some of the things are like, well, I couldn't say either way. I think you want someone to come in and definitely say, no, it's A and not B.
Right.
And there were some things that, about like how the phone wasn't moving.
Right.
At that time, which, could also, I mean, did anyone ever posit that maybe what happened was that John was struck and he stumbled around for those 36 steps and that's how he wound up on his back way over there?
It hasn't really come up, but...
that seems like a more plausible theory of the incident.
The Commonwealth wants you to believe, and so will the defense new pathologist witness, that blow to the back of his head was instantly incapacitating.
Yeah.
And if you've seen that blow to the back of his head, or that injury in the back of his head, I'm not a doctor. My opinion, not being a doctor, of course, is that kind of hit is instantly... Like his skull was split open. So that's been the prevailing thing.
Yeah. I mean, again, if I were doing this, then I think what I would probably say to the jury is that the theory is that was struck, not fatally, but struck hard
Stumbled around. As Mel said yesterday, maybe hit his head on the fire hydrant.
Fell backwards and, he stumbled around. That accounts for the steps, and then fell backwards, and that's how he hit the back of his head. And plus, like, why are there no further steps? Like, how come he didn't party? And, like, did he walk in and was instantly killed? Or, wouldn't we expect that there would have been some sort of build-up to this fight if it happened? So, I mean, I think there's still a lot there that the prosecution could play with based on the data there.
Yeah.
But none of it seems to be a slam dunk either way.
No. That being said, another reason to bring in their expert is their experts, frankly, are a lot more qualified than the Commonwealth experts. And that's going to be embarrassing in a sense. So, all right. Now we're done with the Readathon for today. Tomorrow, the McCabe Show. Thank you so much for joining me, Kevin.
You got it.
Partners in Crime Media.